What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Founder Academy. I am Mark, the FUT founder, and it is Team of the Season time. So it is Weekend League for Team of the Season community. Yeah, a lot to talk about. This is actually the second time I'm recording this because the first time I was just talking a mile a minute. There was so much going on, and I was just like, you know what? It was too much. I want to re-record this, and I want to do it in a more articulate way so you guys can actually follow what's going on, and I'm not just motor mouthing my way through the whole thing. So what you guys are seeing at the very start here is our prime player pick. So you'll see us get Rio Ferdinand and Laurent Blanc. So that's going to be it. I talked about that in our last episode, but I just wanted to show you guys the footage. So before we jump into the actual gameplay, if you guys could leave a like down below on the video. Thank you to everyone who's new to the channel. If you are not already following or subscribing, please hit that follow button down below. Every like and every follow helps. So thank you very much, and welcome everyone who's new. For the people that are returning, you're probably going to hear something really, really familiar because it's a tale of two teams. You can probably see where I'm going with this, but we will jump into that in a sec. Before we do, I just wanted to address a question that I saw from Giovanni Trito. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Giovanni, he says, very interesting video. You should have more subscribers, in my opinion. Thank you, Giovanni. So after patting myself on the back for that, I wanted to actually answer your question, which is, what do you think of the new Weekend League rewards? So this is an interesting one. I think that the only thing that I'm really missing, to be honest with you, Gio, is the fact, if you can believe this, is the Team of the Week pack, which is, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, essentially rewards have been nerfed a little bit. So they've removed the Team of the Week pack, and they have taken one of the picks down. So if you finish on 11 wins like I do almost habitually every week, because I just stop at 11 wins because I don't want to play the extra sweaty games, you will get one less pick, and then you will get no Team of the Week pack. And the reason that I missed the Team of the Week pack is because the Team of the Week pack is going to be super important. They're just going to continue to go up and up and up because there's so many that are put into the game throughout the course of the year, and EA want to justify having Team of the Week in there, and they want to slowly get rid of the Team of the Week supply, because Team of the Week still, when you delete them, or when you discard them, excuse me, they create 10,000 coins, and EA don't want that many coins sitting on the market because it allows people to be liquid. If you notice, EA throughout the course of the iterations of FUT have slowly gone away from having liquid packs and packs that give away coins, and now almost everything is untradeable. They want you to have a team full of untradeable stuff because they don't want coins flooding the market and people being able to buy whoever they want. They want you to get sucked into the SBCs and buying garbage. So, yeah, that's my answer for that. So Team of the Week is kind of annoying because you're going to start needing them a lot more during the course of the Team of the Season SBCs and stuff that go on. Any icon packs are going to have it. So it would just be handy to get that at this stage in FIFA, where they are worth about 20 to 30K. And then I still like the drop weights of the Team of the Season red picks. I think the fact that they're no longer informs to me. Look, I would love to get 3 of them, but the reality is, who cares? I mean, 2 or 3, it's not going to be the end of the world. I actually packed some decent stuff this week, and my red picks were pretty good, which you guys will see in the upcoming video. So while I was talking about that, we actually jumped into gameplay. So I need to set the stage here, so I'm going to go through this really quickly. Spoiler alert, but I lost the first 3 games. We have never done that ever. The reason for that, I know people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but the reason that happened is because last week I was playing online with my friend Nima in co-op. I don't really record the games just because I don't know if people find them interesting, but if you guys want to see that stuff, I can record it. But we lost a couple games at the very end, so I lost about 3 in the row before we finished. However, I didn't get a chance to take them offline and correct their morale. So again, I won't go into morale, but basically, when you lose your team's morale, it's old coding from old iterations of FUT that have continued for basically the last 8 years. So when you lose, your team plays worse and worse and worse. When you win, they play better and better and better until they hit 100 morale. When you get a brand new card, which is something that I've been playing around a lot with, new cards actually, I believe, since morale is still in the game code, that the way a new card comes in is actually at 80 morale. So he will actually play poor. So a lot of people think, oh, this card, I don't really like it, and then they sell it after 1 or 2 games. You need at least 4 because he needs to get up to 100% morale. So the rest of the team can be at 100, but that card defaults to 80 when you get a new card. So it's something to keep in mind. A new card is not always going to play fantastic right out the gate. It actually takes a couple games for you to get his morale up because he needs to experience a couple wins for the morale on the card to go up. So anyway, we played those games. online, lost 3 in a row, and then I went essentially right into FUT champs because I forgot to correct them, because this past week with icon swaps, all my offline games were using MLS teams, Eredivisie teams, and all the ones I needed for icon swaps. So I actually wasn't using my main team at all. So they were still getting handicapped because they were still on low morale. And when I went right into FUT champs, they were playing terribly, and it took me until game 3 to realize it, because I just thought it was a fluke. I was thinking, like, maybe I'm just having a connectivity issue, or maybe I'm just coming up against a really good opponent. But if you watch this opening game, you're going to see a bunch of the usual suspects. Like, look at that. That is absolutely ridiculous. Like, his Charisma cross body hits it with his left, and he doesn't normally, when you think of like those finesse shots from the corner, they finesse it with the right, it bends away and then back into the goal. He hit it across body, so it's bending into the keeper. So anyway, I guess I should show it like this. So if your player's here, I should probably show it like this. If your player's here and the goal's here, he'll bend it around into the far post of the net. He hit it across body, so it came across his left foot, across the keeper, and into the top net. That is all fine and dandy, but that is nonsensical that went flying in, because it's not a traditional like green timed finesse shot. That is just the keeper bumbling it. So a lot of our usual suspects are happening. Things that you're going to see a ton in these first 3 games: swinging, which is players not locking in. You saw that at the very start. If you go back and watch that very first game, the players, like, I'll have 2 or 3 guys around it, and none of them are locking in. Swinging is basically when they cannot control staying in front of the guy. They'll come running, they'll go this way, they'll go on to the other side, and they'll swing from side to side. You're going to see it an absolute ton. I'll try to identify it as much as I can in the games. Not locking into tackles. Disadvantageous placement, which is basically 50-50 tackles, or anytime you've got the ball and a defender comes in, just takes the ball from you, your player stumbles and does a bunch of animations, and it knocks him out of the way, so your opponent can basically break out. So this is game 2. At this point, I still have no idea what the hell is going on, because I forgot that I was doing that. But just look at the amount of pressure that I'm putting them in. But they're not locking in any tackles. They're not intercepting anything. They're just running right by. So they're not locking in, and they're swinging. So they're just running in. They're doing all these crazy things. They're doing wild, it looks like they're taking 1 million steps per second. And then just nonsense like this. You're going to hit a bunch of posts. You're going to run offside a bunch. Even though that hit the post, Mbappe was right there, but he didn't identify it. He literally just ran, and he just runs right past it. So they get dumb, right? Their offensive AI just falls to the floor. Simple passes that I just want a little double tap into space, they're getting jump collected by the defender and turned away. This is one that I left in there. Look, this was a mistake on my part for putting the ball on the ground, but basically what I wanted to do there was I wanted to put the ball down, and I saw Mateus, and I wanted a driven pass into Mateus. I should have known better, but again, at this point, I'm not realizing. I'm forgetting that I'm getting handicapped. Look at that. Not locking in, not tackling there. Rafa Varane doesn't cover it. It's a very narrow angle, which Hugo Lloris, if my team was on higher morale, he would have punched it. Instead, he short arms it, and he finds this seeing eye pass right across goal. This is one that I wanted to leave here because, look, if you go back and look at that freeze frame, Mbappe's got the ball. My option to the left is Puskas. If I play it to him, Puskas basically collects the ball and runs it right into the defender. And then if I play it to the right, to Jadon Sancho, if I stop and let the defender come over, he's going to sprint offside. So I have to play the ball to him while the defender's running, but he's hiding, right? So if you go back and watch that, even though the guy's manually running straight at me, Jadon Sancho is staying behind him perfectly, so it doesn't give me an angle to play the ball to him. And again, I know you guys probably think, oh, you're just mad that you're conceding all these goals or losing or whatever. But just like look at the amount of idiotic crowding that's going on. They're not locking in. The guy warps right through, and next thing you know, it's 3-1. But it's not about the result, guys. And I will show you guys, because there's a game later on where we actually end up losing, but the team was playing fine. Here's a perfect example. I have space. I let the defender run right past, and I just need Mbappe. He's at 99 acceleration, 99 sprint speed. 9 times out of 10, he sprints into that space. But instead, because my team's getting handicapped, he stuttered. So I do the scoop turn, the defender runs by, and he kind of takes a wild swing to the right, and then he stutters to get going. His acceleration gets nerfed so the defender can get back in time, right? Countless times I have the ball I do a scoop turn, or I just like do a fake shot, let the defender run by, and I just need him to take a step to the left or step to the right and hit a shot. Instead, I can't. They won't accelerate. They'll do extra animations and they'll kind of chug. They'll run in space and they won't accelerate. So it just, again, it allows the defender to get back and tackle you. Here's one right here. If you go back and watch this one, that's near at the end of the game. Got the ball, fake shot inside. He sprinted past, but his player stops on a dime and is right back in his face before I can even get going. Here's Puskas. I know I'm kind of trying to keep up with the footage here, but I have the ball in with Puskas and I want to play inside to Messi. Okay, I've got a direct line to Messi. I've got 2 players in the box and there's 1 defender. If I can get that ball inside to Messi, I can make a cut. If he reads the cut, I can sweat it across for a second sweat across goal. Or if he follows the runner, I can just make that first cut with Messi and smash it near post. So it gives me 2 options. I'm thinking about that at this point. All I need him to do is make that pass into Messi. Instead, it snaps out to Conte, who's outside the box. So, like, passing falls to the floor because the offensive AI, like all the sliders for your offensive AI, just nerf. The acceleration nerfs. All your attacking things nerf, right? Your physicals nerf. They'll run into a defender, or the defender will just come in, clatter your guy, and he'll either ragdoll or he'll disadvantageous place the attacker. So if you're here, the defender comes in, takes the ball, they'll just take it in stride, and your player will stumble and do a bunch of animations. And then by the time it finishes the animation, it stops and it goes, okay, and you're in a dead stop. So it takes a while for the acceleration to go because your opponent is already away. So how many times in there did you guys see just defenders come and just take the ball from me, or my pass go totally astray? Or they'll do what I call hiding, which is like if you've got the ball here and you see that you've got a player here, you just want that pass directly to him. If there's a defender, the player will do this, and he'll move behind the defender, and he'll hide. So it sees that you're trying to make that pass, and he'll hide behind it, or he'll narrow the pass. So if I try to force the pass in, the pass will get intercepted by the defender. It's crazy. It's all this nonsense that has been in the game for just years and years and years, and it doesn't need to be in there. There is no discernible quality for morale being in Ultimate Team. It does not need to be in an online game space, right? Like, that's a perfect example right there. Messi, he would normally sprint into that. He's got 99 acceleration. I just need him to jet into the space. Instead, his defender covered about 15 yards of ground and came and slid tackled the ball, right? Watch Puskas. Ball here. Is this the one? I think. Oh, no. So I thought that was the ball with Puskas. But, like, there's just a ton of examples here. I want a little ball played into space. Instead, it plays it away. So it's going away from goal perfectly in the hands of the keeper, right? Here's another example of the ball coming in. They run narrowly. I just want Mbappe to hit a normal shot with his right foot. Instead, he goes cross. Like, this happens a ton because they want it forces the shot onto their weak foot. So instead of him smashing with his right, he shifts to the left to take it with his left foot, which is less accurate, gives him a worse angle. It hits the keeper, bounces up into the air, and then the guy does a bicycle kick or a side volley, right? There's another example of me getting the ball with Conte, and I want to play it directly into Puskas, but Puskas hits the keeper or hits the defender and ragdolls to the floor. So now I don't have a passing option. So I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll make the pass to Mbappe. So ball comes out to Mbappe, but Mbappe does some weird, like, indirect animation, like, looping thing where he comes around and doesn't even identify that the ball's there. Like, it just does all this crazy stuff, guys. The swinging is the one that's really getting me. Swinging and animations, like extra animations, are just nuts. Like here, a simple ball to Conte, but look how many extra touches he takes. So it's really heavy touches, and then by the time you make the pass, it's too narrow, gets intercepted, ball comes, the guy's away. Now, that was a mistake by me because, again, I'll take full blame for that one because I did an offside trap. I didn't mean to do an offside trap. I wanted to do team press because my team, when they're getting handicapped, another thing that they do is they stand around. They don't put pressure because their aggression stat drops to the floor, so I'm having to manually use team press almost every time my opponent's attacking. However, I accidentally hit offside trap, my players all run forward, and the guy sprinted through and he scored a goal. On a mistake by me, but the mistake was caught. Like, look, I got to take blame for that, But I wouldn't even use team press this early in the game if my team's aggression wasn't getting nerfed. So it's death by 1,000 cuts. And I've said this 1,000 times. Everybody thinks that it's one thing. Oh, well, you shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done that. But it's a bunch of little things that happen, right? It's just crazy little things. Swinging, not locking in, hiding, disadvantageous placement, narrowing, stuttering, extra animations in terms of offensive, indirect running where they do those long looping weird runs, animation stuttering, which is one that I'll show you guys when we take the team offline, ragdolling, bouncing balls, sliding, which is another one when you make that pass and the player like almost looks like they're on skates and they make a pass. Like if you use an L1 pass, they'll pass and then it will slide before he starts jetting forward. Like just crazy stuff. Like if you watch that clip right there back, watch the amount of not locking in that happens, right? Like look at the swinging that's going on. Like it looks like I can't control my players, right? Look at this. He's literally just walking through and then my Veron's like ragdolling and falling over the place. Guys, this is morale right here, right in front of your eyes. This is morale. Okay? I've shown it 1,000 times in FIFA. This is exactly what it is. This has been in since FIFA 09. Okay? And they took it out of the game in 14 and has been in the game code since 14. So people that are getting frustrated with FIFA and think like, why is the game and why the servers? This is what it is. This is exactly what you're experiencing. So, look, am I the greatest FIFA player in the world? No. Should I beat everybody I'm playing? No. I'm not a 20-0 guy, but the 3 guys that I lost to were directly caused. Whether they would have beaten me or not, I couldn't tell you, but the results almost to a T were all caused by morale. Every single one of them. Like, look at that shot. At Hugo Lloris. It was right at him. He doesn't even stop it. He just goes like this. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy that's going on. There's no reason for it at all. And it's infuriating because this is what people spend money on. People make professions of doing this, right? Whether you're a content creator or whether you're an esports player, this is fucked up. This game is broken. And it's criminal, in my opinion, because this is broken and people's livelihood is based on this game. A lot of people's livelihood is. It's crazy. It took me 6 games, which is what you guys are seeing, some of the highlights, which I'm going to show you guys what is going on. But it took me 6 offline games to get them playable again. Because if you add the games that we lost when I was playing last week with Nima, and then you add the 3 losses that I took in my first 3 games, they were absolutely through the 4. They were unplayable. As you guys can see here, these are examples. So your team gets associated, the card gets associated with morale. It's directly associated to a card. So when your team is going into an offline game or an online game, they are still getting handicapped, as you can see here. These are offline games, right? So these are things that were going on. So this is a perfect example. Ball roll, I want to cut inside. But watch the amount of extra animations that it takes. It takes about 3 steps to the left before it locks into the animation. Whoop! And it slides him because it wants to... If you were doing that online, this would be the team that I'd be taking online right now. If I went directly into game 4, I would be playing with this team. Look at this. I want to pass inside to Messi. See where I direct the pass? And then it snaps the ball into Mbappe, who's being checked by the defender. Right? I want the ball here. Play it. Play the ball. Whoa, and it just snaps it. Like that is the definition of handicap. You're playing with a team that is getting handicapped. Like, I'm sorry for using the term handicap because I don't like using it because of the connotations what it has with people like with a mental disability, but like the term handicap, the definition of handicap is something that is like removed from all context. In this context, it's playing with something that's a disadvantage. This is the definition of what handicap is, but it's caused by the morale from the game code and the way they coded it almost 10 years ago. That is insane to me. That the amount of money that they make on this game, and that is still in there. And you can't do anything about it because they've removed the cards. They've removed morale cards from the game. You can't stop it. Like, look at this. This defender was covering Mbappe. He was running away So I waited till the animation allowed for the defender to go past, but because it stuttered Messi so much and he took all these extra touches, the defender stopped, turned, and came back. If I was playing online, he would have actually tackled me before I got that shot away. Here's another example of Messi pulling the ball back, and I want that pass right there. Instead, it took 2 or 3 extra animations for the ball to like cut, for whatever reason, it got stuck under his feet, and it had to pull the player back before it makes the pass. You can't have that online, right? Split second things like that add context to like those types of passes. If you're doing that online, the defender has now split second, an extra couple seconds maybe even, to read what's going on, change his decision making, and get back into a position where he can either tackle you or intercept the ball. Right? So that's adding context to this. Most people would think, like, what difference does it make? It's like a bunch of these little things. You can't have this. You can't play with a team that's having this happen. Like, look at that animation from Messi. What that's doing is putting him into an animation. There's no threat of him needing to block the pass. It's not even close to him. Instead, he stops and does what looks like a block where he sticks his foot out. And it's doing that because it wants to put him into an animation so that pass can complete and the opponent has at least a half second for him to break away. A half second means the world in FIFA, right? Like, look at this. 2 defenders. Watch Mateus swing. So he doesn't lock in. He swings past him. And then look at the swing from here, from Rudiger. Swings around him so the player can break through. If that's online, that's a goal. Because the guy's through on goal, and he pumps it into the net, and you've lost. Now, this one is crazy. This is EA being really fucking sneaky, pardon my language. This one pisses me off because these happen all the time and people don't notice it because it happens so fast. Watch Varane here. I'm going to slow this down here. Watch Varane. He starts an animation and he gets stuck in the animation. Right? There. I don't know if you guys will notice it. It's a split second, but he will start this animation. Ooh, and see there's a kind of jolt. What that's doing is the position that I have Varane in, that pass comes in. If he continues the animation, he intercepts the pass. But when the ball's coming in, it says, okay, he's going to intercept the pass, but your team's getting handicapped, your sliders have dropped. So while he's halfway through the animation, it knows that he can't complete it or else he'll intercept it. So it'll freeze him and he'll slide, which gives the ball an extra couple seconds to move there. And by the time it gets here, that's when it continues the animation. So now it completes the pass and your player just misses it. That is sneaky by EA. And there's a ton of those that are happening when your team is getting handicapped. All of those sneaky little animations, those add up. And next thing you know, you've missed a chance and then your opponent comes down and scores. I don't think it's a coincidence. You guys saw that in the last games. It was always like a missed chance here and there, or the player just, you should have scooped, turned, should have ball rolled, and then he gets it, 2 passes, lob, he's downfield, and he scores. And you've lost 3-2. You've lost 2-1. This is happening to someone in every single game because somebody has lost. Right? Someone has to lose a game. And when you take one loss, your team starts doing these things. Look at this one. This one's nuts to me. You've got all the space in the world to play. Look at the pass that he makes. Instead, all he has to do is play it into space. He's got about 10 yards. Look at the amount of space. Literally, there it is. And then look at it snap. Look at this. Play it there. Play it into space. And then it snaps back. And not only does it snap back, but it plays it into the defender. Mbappe has to jump over it. Now it's on Puskas' weak foot. And he shoots it and it hits the goalie in the groin and goes out for a corner. Like, this game is so screwed up, and it's like you can't just get away with it. Like, something needs to be done by EA. I am praying that eFootball becomes an actual usable, playable game, because this is disgraceful that this is going on. I'm getting so worked up just watching this back. Like, you cannot tell me that that is fair, that you are playing with a team that does that stuff. Like, there's no skill gap because it's random. It's not even random. It's just like if you lose, your team gets handicapped, period. It's literally handicap, right? So I took my team, played 6 offline games. Now look at how crisp they are, right? He was not doing that. Mbappe was not doing that. He was not shooting into space. Look at that. Tackle from Mateus. Literally simple pass. Quick little 1-2s. Look at them slip balls through. Oh, quick little slip here. He's away. I don't know what I was doing here. I guess I was in my own head because I had taken so many losses offline. But that was just my fault. The guy pump faked his keeper. But that was my mistake. But at least he's playable, right? Like, look at them identifying. right? They're locking into tackles. They're making wrap tackles. Every pass is crisp. That's because I just took them offline. That's all. Look at that. The through ball, instead of it going away, it bends it around the defender. Look at how tight the dribbling is from Puskas. I didn't finish it. Maybe could have ball rolled or whatever. But like, look, at least I gave myself the opportunity. An intercepted pass. Quick little touches. Pass and move. Bang. Right? Look at Messi. Watch the acceleration here. Remember earlier when we were playing the offline, he didn't have the acceleration? Look at how quickly he accelerated there. When we were playing offline, he stuttered and then he takes all these extra touches before he gets going because it's doing these little touches so you can accelerate. L1 sprint boost there. Now that the team is on 100% morale, L1, 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 sprint into space, and he bursts into space and he smashes a goal in. I missed that in games 1, 2, and 3 because my team's getting handicapped, but he scores that and the guy rage quits. Right? Like this is so black and white to me that this is in the game. I don't like anybody that denies that there's morale in the game, guys. You've got to be nuts. I know you might think that I'm like some mad scientist or something dissecting this, but guys, this is nuts. If you have lost, take your team offline. I guarantee you they're going to play different. Smash the computer a couple times. Right? Smash them offline. They're gonna play good again. It's so infuriating that I'm even having to listen to myself say that. How crazy it sounds. Right? And one of the other things too is like, I think I mentioned this earlier, but like new cards, they actually default to 80. So a lot of people are getting mad because they're getting a new card with all these team of the season cards and they're just like, I'm seeing a ton of cards that have 1 or 2 games, no goals, and then guys are selling them. When you get a new card, because morale is still in the game, when you used to get cards when morale was on the card itself, it defaulted to 80. So you actually need about 4 wins before that individual card is actually playing on full 99 morale. So if you get a new card, don't expect him to come out and just play gangbusters because he's actually playing on 80 morale. I've been trying this out with a couple of my friends when we've been playing online games, but not recording them. And we tried out we bought cards off the market and tried them and just saw how they played in game 1 versus game 4 or 5, and it was like night and day. These guys were doing all these weird things where they were kind of, those ones where they're like, you're trying to, let's say you're sprint jockeying, where you're holding L2 and or L1 and R2, and they're kind of sprint jockeying. When you're doing that with a player who's on 99 morale, or 100 morale, or whatever you want to call it, they're doing this, right? They're facing up and they're basically moving. When you're doing it with a card that's on like 80 morale, like a brand new card, when you're backing up, they'll start doing this. They'll turn and they'll run backwards. And they'll do like that weird kind of backwards run where they kind of, it almost looks like they get lost and they're kind of like moving around and they're kind of sliding around. That's not a coincidence. That's because they're on 80 morale. So they actually default to a lower morale setting than 99. So you actually have to get them up to play. So the rest of your team can be on 99, but if you insert a new card, they default at 80. So it's something to keep in mind, guys, when you get new cards. This was the game where I basically, here's the example. My team was playing fine. I ended up losing this game, spoiler alert, because of this play right here. But this was my fault because I knew this happened basically from minute 87 onwards. Your team's defense falls to the floor. As you guys can see, I knew that if I lost that ball in the corner, I was dead. And this guy knew how to take advantage of it. All he did was one pass up, lob pass. The game breaks because none of the defenders, all their sliders have dropped massively through the floor and they can't defend properly. So when I lost that ball in the corner, I knew that I was dead. Before he even got to half, I was just like, this guy's going to score. Because all he has to do is literally just make the easy passes. The defenders are going to swing and they're going to break, and all he has to do is be direct. And if he cannot give the ball up, he's going to score a goal. He literally shot it right through my keeper's legs. So we ended up letting this game get away from us because we were up 2-1. All I needed Rafa Varane to do was keep that ball in, sweat the ball across, and we would have had a 3-1 win. Instead, I was trying to hold the ball in the corner. And look, I guess I got punished for trying to hold the ball and kill the clock there, but it was less than a minute left in the game. We were in extra time. As soon as I lost the ball, this guy essentially just 2 passes and he's downfield and he ends up scoring because of the 90th minute cheese. This extra time, this was a perfect example of like what this game was like. The entire extra time I held him, but I just couldn't break through. It's like man-to-man coverage. It's like playing the computer on World Class. They just literally stay in front of you, and I don't know if it's because my players were just too tired, but they could not get a step. He was just getting away with all these murderous last-ditch tackles, and then he, again, 1-2 passes, he's right through, and he hits me on a counterattack. Counterattacks just need to be nerfed next year. They're absolutely ridiculous, but that's the least of this game's problems. It's got so much garbage with it. With all the morale and the handicap that goes on, I don't even know where to begin. So that is going to be the end of the episode, guys. We actually start on 2-4. So my team was playing fine in this game. It's just I ended up, that was my fault. I should have clock managed a little bit better there and not tried to run it into the corner. That was my mistake. I know better than that. So those first 3 games, totally different than my last 3 games. The first 3, couldn't even do anything about it, but we're 2-4, the worst start we've ever had. But don't worry, guys, I promise we will turn that around in the next episode, and you'll be amazed at what we finish at. So that is going to be the end of the episode, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me to the very end, and until next time, take care. Peace.